Hello everyone and welcome back to SCP Data. Today we'll be looking at two tales, show you what all that Howl is for, and the best you've made of me. Let's start with show you what all that Howl is for. Please put your hand into the mouth of the statue. D-19238 did nothing. I said put your hand in the mouth of the statue. D-19238 simply grinned. I know you from somewhere, don't I? Failure to obey will have consequences. Put your hand in the mouth of the statue. I won't ask you again. You're the egghead who's dating the Skip, aren't you? That line of questioning is totally unacceptable. Why are you all flustered then? Seem a little defensive. He had her there. She was saved from having to answer by Reynolds' arrival. Dr. Agarwal, you're needed in the Western Wing. You have an appointment with 5760 scheduled 15 minutes. Scheduled change. As she sighed and shut the door behind her, she could still hear the D-class call. Try and get it on film for me, will you, Reynolds? When she reached the observation chamber, 5760 appeared to be having an argument with itself. Will you just shut up for once in your, life isn't the right word? Leave me the fuck alone, why don't you? 5760 suddenly raised its paws into the air and howled. Fear and adrenaline exploded through Luxini, leaving her trembling, weak-kneed. Is this how the deer feels when it sees the wolf? She did not feel like anything so much as prey. She looked at 5760 and saw nothing human at all. A grotesque spire of bone had grown in the midst of the forest, reaching and grasping. Lakshmi felt a pull in her own skeleton, then a dull ache in the center of her bone. She held up her hand and watched as strange, ominous lumps began to grow through her skin, yearning outwards toward that awful tower. She turned to see Reynolds whimpering as tendrils of calcium pushed through his hand, splitting it open. 5760's voice was rough, scraping snarl of claws on bone and the rustle of ragged fur on dusty cave walls. It said nothing intelligible. The concepts, sensations followed through Lakshmi's mind, a flood of alien consciousness. Child, youth, inexperienced, a young pup that whimpered with a human child's voice. A gift, strength, speed, the feel of bone beneath Lakshmi's fingers, and the sudden awareness of every bit of bone she possessed, and those of her colleagues, the entire sight, a massive constellation of calcium and enamel, power itching behind those pale green eyes. The gift refused. Foolishness. Humans. A faceless mass of them. The scent warm and delectable. 5760's hunger made Lakshmi's mouth water, and she shuddered. Meat, blood, liver, kidneys, muscle. Lifting its face from someone's ribcage, skull lurid with blood. A man's head crushing in a terrible paw. A corpse rotting to nothing. Another crumbling to dust. Spain for the terrified hearts beating rapidly on the other side of the plexiglass window. In the woods at night, prowling slightly behind a hiker. Tapetum lucidum glowing. breaking out, chasing after terrified researchers that could be caught at any second, just to prolong the hunt. Playing with your food. Lakshmi could barely keep from vomiting as she tore open her own chest and ate her own heart, jaws slavering. She could feel the toughness of the muscle against her back molars, the warmth of the blood coating her hands and mouth. Get out. This was 5760's normal voice again, sounding breathless, and Lakshmi was back in her own head. The structure turned to dust, and the bony vines retreated back beneath Lakshmi's skin. 5760's chest was visibly leaving. Yet when Lakshmi stepped closer to the window, it began to wave enthusiastically. Sorry about that. Fucker doesn't know when to quit. Is your hand okay? Lakshmi flexed it carefully. It would be sore for a bit, but it didn't seem to repress it. It appears functional. Okay, good. Good. Ready for a date? I'm sorry, what? You're fine. I've got him under control. Go get your hand bandaged up, though. I'll be waiting for you. Whether near or far, I'm always yours. Brett and Yuri crooned over the loudspeakers of 5760's containment cell. Fortunately, Lakshmi was unable to appreciate his silken notes, due to the fact that every fiber of her body was terrified. Pressed against 5760's bone, white fur, and a ghoulish caricature of a waltz. She was at least grateful that 5760 had agreed to lead. Between her terror and lack of coordination, she didn't think she could have led a mannequin. She kept waiting for 5760's cheerful voice to morph into the hellish rasp, and for her bones to start rebelling against the rest of her once more. 5760 was doing an excellent job of ignoring her discomfort and pretending like Lakshmi had almost died gruesomely. Lakshmi didn't entirely blame it for not wanting to talk about the earlier incident. She didn't want to spend another second remembering. It happens all the time now. It happens all the time, was 5760's only response when Lakshmi asked if 5760 was okay. You get used to it. You're totally safe now. I promise. It doesn't happen when I know you're here. Lakshmi wasn't reassured, not after she had just experienced the sensation of devouring herself alive. But as she thought about it, that had been the exact point when 5760 had become lucid again. She tried to remember if 5760 had seen her before. Other occupant turned the control away. She didn't think so. I'm really glad we got to spend this time together, 5760 said, as though they were a couple's retreat and not slow dancing in a forest full of bone trees. Lakshmi decided the thing was either extremely determined to having a quote-unquote normal evening, or had a remarkable capacity for self-delusion. Possibly both. Would you mind the claws? She managed to squeak out. They're poking into my side. Sorry, said 5760, and loosened its grip on her waist. This is such a beautiful song, 5760 continued, blithely. You know, the lyrics are his wedding vows to his wife. Said Lakshmi, trying to ignore the tiny skeleton abomination squeaking, chattering in the calcified underbrush. I think you've mentioned that before, yes. It's a good song, sweet, but sensual, almost seductive. 5760 had eyebrows, it would have raised them suggestively. Great. Now it was hitting on her, on top of everything else. Lakshmi could barely keep her voice from trembling. Could we perhaps keep this conversation professional? I'm just trying to make things a little less formal. I would appreciate a certain degree of formality, actually. Fine. Be a killjoy that way. Whatever you say. The song ended, and the loudspeaker came a distinctively 80s beat, followed by the unmistakable notes of hauling Otis. She'll only come out at night, Lean and hungry type. Now for the first time that night, Lashimi wondered what she had done to deserve this, or who she had pissed off on 5760's research team. Sorry, said 5760 without any hint of shame. Little gallows humor. Lashimi was beginning to despise Fridays. Lashimi, chirped a cheerful voice from outside her office. Can we come in? Lashimi, chirped a cheerful voice from outside her office. Can we come in? Hi, Myers, Lashimi called distractedly. Who's we? Me, Reynolds said, quivering. Myers practically shoved further into the room. He cleared his throat. Sorry about not telling you about the procedures for 5760 like I was supposed to, he mutters. I was afraid you'd yell at me, or that you'd think it was a joke, or that you wouldn't do it, and then Gonzalez would yell at me. He filled nervously with his watchband. Lashimi rolled her eyes, smiled at him. Typical Reynolds. Just please don't do it again. Great, Myers said. Apologies satisfactory. Now, out, Reynolds. But, out. Now. You're so mean to that boy, Lashimi watched Reynolds scurry away down the hall. I don't know where they found him, Myers said, shaking her head. How are you doing? It's been stressful. I keep feeling like people are laughing at me behind my back. Actually, I know they are. More than usual, I mean. Well, I made it clear that it's not a laughing matter. You're doing a good thing, honey. If you have a candle at dinner with a Wendigo, it means people are safe. You're a hero in the eyes of anyone who got more than 3 brain cells. I know. I saw what happened when 5760 loses it. I don't want to talk about it, and then I can't access anything about it. Who it is, where it was found, anything about the entity that inhabits it. Which, given the incident earlier, seems incredibly dangerous. I'm on its research detail, but I can't get access. Ask it yourself then, Myers suggested. I can't do that. Yes, you can, honey. Call it on its bullshit. You have a right to know. A right to know, Lashimi echoed.